Hello, Viroqua Area Schools Board of Education. My name is Nick Protaski, and this is a quick overview video about your role as an authorizer. To start out, I just want you to ask yourself two questions, because this will help provide context for what we are about to go over, as well as it makes it unique to your roles in your community. Why does your school district board exist? I'm sure you cover this and you have these conversations as you're writing your own strategic plans and visions, but really, what is the root of that? And what is the purpose, or what is your role as an authorizer for your charter schools? Take a second, jot those down, and you will use that hopefully reflectively throughout this short overview video. I looked on your website for your 2021 board goals and action plans, and I can really see you've done a lot of work and a lot of discussion around energizing education and creating strong, positive relationships and just making your community better through the window of education, which seems like it's a strong role for you to play in your community to help ensure that high quality education is happening, but holistic and whole child education is happening. So hopefully, as you think about your role in supporting your charter schools as an authorizer in your portfolio of charter schools, they align and are helping you reach your district's board goals and action plans. Quickly, to targets today, why do school boards exist, which we kind of just briefly discussed, discussing your role as a charter school authorizer, and then defining the crossover of legal and ethical responsibilities of authorizers, governance boards, and then charter leaders. Again, my name is Nick Protaski. I work for the Wisconsin Resource Center for Charter Schools. We're a statewide office that supports authorizers, governance boards, charter school leaders, and the classroom. In our current dynamic times, we're supporting all public education around the state and lots of school districts as they're navigating. We're based out of the office in CESA 9. So why does the school board exist? In short, I believe you're representing the owners of the school, which are the taxpayers. It's your community members and your families and your students. And you want that to accomplish. You want to make sure your schools, your district accomplishes what those owners would want. They want levels of learning. They want engaged learners, and they want students that are ready for a career in college. And you're also supposed to ensure that the things you don't want to happen don't happen, right, in your schools. And this is very aligned with your work as an authorizer. So basically, your board exists, right, to represent taxpayers, to ensure that students are learning and that nothing illegal or unethical is happening in your schools. So why authorize a charter school? Here's the top 6 answers that we get from school boards around the state on why they have a portfolio of charter schools in their school district. The 3 core principles to charter school authorizing. Number 1, to maintain high standards, clear standards and expectations for your charter schools. Uphold school autonomy. Charter schools have a contract that allows them levels of autonomy that is spelled out in that charter contract, and making sure that you're allowing for that autonomy. And then to protect, going back to those original slides, protecting students and public interests, since you do represent the taxpayers. There's a link in here, and I'll provide these slides, that goes over in depth the National Association of Charter School Authorizers Principles and Standards, which in our state statute, it asks that our authorizers in Wisconsin at least entertain those principles and standards. Here's a nice diagram that just sort of spells out your role as an authorizer and the charter school governance board. In the middle, you see there's a contract. That is what charter means. Charter is a contract between the authorizer and the governance board. You are providing autonomies over program, staffing, maybe some financial decisions. In the relationship, though, you have some expectations, and those expectations are results. You expect that students are learning, that the charter school is not a financial burden, or is making, you know, their ends meet, and they have operational performance, right? The kids are being safe, and learning is ultimately happening. This could look different depending on each charter school you have and each individual contract, as well as contracts are unique all across our state. There is a flow of accountability. So all charter schools, no matter what, still have to adhere to federal government, IDEA, ESSA accountability. The state of Wisconsin has very specific 11840 is charter school law. They have to abide by open meeting law. So they're not, there's no waiver from federal law or state law. Then when we get down to your role as the authorizer, they also need to adhere, charter schools need to adhere to the charter contract and any policies or procedures they have adopted from the district. And then lastly, a governance board of the charter school has their own individual bylaws and potentially specific waivers. So when our office gets calls about, can the charter school do X, Y, Z, we go through this level of autonomy and a level of accountability flow chart. Here's your cycle of effective authorizing. You go through a contracting period. Then after a charter is contracted, usually we see those contracts between 3 and 5 years, you have oversight and analysis of performance. If performance isn't meeting what you had expected in your charter school contract, and according to our state statute, they do want authorizers to be holding schools accountable for operations and academic learning. There could be corrective action planning. This is not an essential one because if charter schools are meeting the deliverables and the performance measures in the contract, maybe corrective action is not there. And then, but the entire time during that 3 to 5 year contract, you are making decisions and providing evaluations on whether or not you are going to renew that school in the 3 to 5 years. And then you're having a strong authorization discussion, making sure that there is a framework for what successful schools look like in the Viroqua area school district. And then we go back through the cycle again. Your roles and responsibilities. A few really important terms: bylaws, which you have your own. Your governing board of each of the charter schools would also have their own bylaws. Charter contract we've discussed, and policies. The key with the policies, some governing boards have their own policies. Some have adopted 100% of what the school district's policies are, and then some have a mix. Performance measures should be clearly stated in your contract so that you know whether or not your charter school is meeting your expectations, and it's very transparent to your community and all other stakeholders. FAPE in your school district, free and appropriate public education, special education, students with IEPs, is still the responsibility, or the responsibilities held with the LEA, with the school board, with charter schools that are authorized by school districts. A quick diagram here to show the flow. You have an authorizer that has a contract again with the governance board. That authorizer is providing oversight and assurances as they're monitoring. That governing body, though, that legal entity that is in contract with the authorizer, is the one that's overseeing that charter school. They're looking at the budget. They're making sure that learning's happening because they have to meet the measures in the contract. There's also kind of an interesting dotted line oftentimes, right? Because there's still services that the charter school is accessing from the authorizer. Sometimes it is beneficial that those services are clearly spelled out either in separate contracts or at least addendums, so we know what those services look like, because that is a little different than the expectations or the performance measures that you had in a contract, in the charter contract. Here's some authorizer legal responsibilities. Again, I'll provide the slides, so I do not want to waste your time and read through each of these, but these are the things pulled out of state statute that 11840 that the state is expecting school districts such as yourself, who are authorizers, are adhering to. And again, I also have a link that's here that will be in the slides if you want to look into this a little bit more in detail. All right, so we're separating out some of those roles and responsibilities. This Venn diagram is here to help understand that there are kind of 3 key leadership folks, right? You have the authorizer, such as yourself, the school board, and in the school district office. You have your governing board, and then you have the leadership of that school. And that looks in a variety of ways, from principals to lead teachers to someone from the district office. All across our state, we have different leadership models. But I want you to pay attention to how they intersect and where the different autonomies and where the decision making lies. This is a really good point of conversation with school boards, with their governing boards, and with school leadership. It doesn't always look the same in every community or even with every charter school. So it is important that we kind of line out whose roles and whose responsibilities are. I look at it very similar to like a marriage, right? We're really having open dialogue about what should be happening, what shouldn't be happening, whose role is it to make that decision, who has input, and who has ultimate, is the ultimate person that makes the final decision, and when does it happen in partnership. But every charter school is its own unique situation. So now what? Please reach out to us at the Wisconsin Resource Center for Charter School. If anything in this overview you would like to dig deeper in, I'm more than willing to attend a governance board meeting with you face-to-face or virtually, roll up my sleeves and get to work, answer some of your questions. We also have a link in here to some competencies, skills and aptitudes that we feel make successful authorizers. We have 49 online just-in-time e-courses that are free for you to take, many of which are directed specifically towards Authorizer. And then here is a list of other trainings we have done. We've partnered with the Wisconsin Association of School Boards. We've partnered with other entities from around the state and the nation to support you in these areas. And so please reach out if any of this is of interest to you. Lastly, I always like to finish up with school boards is when in doubt, ask. Right? It is our role to make sure that we're being the best representation of our community. And we want to ask those tough questions that sometimes we feel like maybe everyone knows, but if we don't, we should just ask that question. And we are here to be your partner to make being a charter school authorizer as clear and transparent as possible. You can reach out to me. Here's my email. Here is our website. We have many resources available right there on the website, as well as a free consultation request. So just reach out and let us know how we can best support you. I appreciate you all for giving to your community. Thank you for what you do for kids each and every day, making learning possible and helping them reach their full human potential. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.